I should say that community policing has taken shape in this country. Every neighborhood has got a neighborhood watch. They have people that overseeing the safety of the spaces. But we're talking about gender-based violence. The community policing is taking care of the violence outside my house. You and I are together in a relationship and I'm your punching box. And sometimes a lot of men has become so smart that they don't punch us anymore. There's economical violence that takes place. There's emotional violence that takes place. So you guys, men, has find a way to be able to redirect that energy so that there cannot be physical evidence of that level of violence. But then there are those that literally become physical. So the community spacing and the community policing hardly comes into homes, because then you're extending, you are now entering an issue of privacy in homes. And the issue around that is key for us to figure out how do we get community policing involved directly for us in our households to know that these people are safe for them to be able to assist us. And sometimes there's also an issue of trust with community policing. If I know that you are our community policing team leader, and then you have helped me with my husband beating me up, then at the end of the day, I hear my story at John's house. Where is the issue of confidentiality? Because when it comes to GBV, confidentiality is prudent to shaping the safety and the well-being of the person. That initially takes you to a next level where the person's issue of trust needs to also be built on. And that initially shapes the issue around, I am in a safe space. Can I be able to change the life that I have? But also, can I live without being dependent on you? Because sometimes violence happens because a number of us are dependent on those people who are beating us up or who are doing any force of violence. So it's greater issues in households. Sometimes customs and traditions are also the ones that hold us. I'm married for 35 years. I can never get divorced, because the reality is families are going to get involved. And when families get involved, there's always a way of convincing me that I need to stay. We can make things better. And then there are also other communities that are not spoken about. There are communities of sexual and gender diverse communities. And when we talk about GBV, we're talking about issues of safety, confidentiality, trust, non-discrimination. And when it comes to those realities, these are spacings that have not been created to also advance the inclusion of other communities who do not even have proper access to those services that you've just flagged. So as a country, we carry a greater responsibility to build upon what we already have right now, but also create a social culture of trust, but also a social culture that has easier access. If I run out of my house right now, where do I run to? I call the police, they come after 2 hours. I go to my neighbor's house, they say, yeah, just go, because we don't want to be enemies with Tate John, because Tate John has been very nice to us. So those realities are completely different from where we come from. I come from a community when somebody is beaten in the next house and they scream, the whole neighbors are going into that house to figure out what's happening, and they are holding the men accountable. But now we have big walls, big gates, we don't know what's happening. The person is lying there for 3 days with bruises. The moment they get an opportunity to escape, where they go for the first point of entry, the level of support is also there. I also think that it's important for us to look at how services are also delivered at the end of the day, because if I go to a police station, that empathy, that level of compassion is very important for the officers there to sympathize with my reality and not cross-question me as if I am the culprit that has caused that level of violence. I have children that I've left in my house by default of not trusting John with me. And then you also have situations where John sleeps with their own kids. And then it's a number of violent realities that we are faced with that go unspoken. And also us as families, we're a problem. We shade and we hide and protect and say, no, John is a respected man in this country, in this town. There's no way he could ever do that. And with this case that you just saw today in these papers, it's evidently that characters and people carry different ways of expressing that pain. And we need to be able to reflect and be able to journey collectively as a country to be able to make sure that enabling environments are created for everyone.
Well, that is the voice of Magano Baumann.